I'm pulling up Facebook here. Let's pin the comments. Let's pin a comment here. We are calling this. It's called the Relentless Life. It's called the Relentless Life. Let's fucking go. And then we're going to pin this comment, pin comment. Bam! We're fucking live. Let's go. I am hyped the fuck up today. Let's go. I am hyped up today, baby. It's freaking Monday. And I have a hell of a live coming at you guys today. What's going on, Kaylee? Happy freaking Monday, girl. I am so fucking fired up for today's live. Like, you guys have no idea. If you guys are watching this on replay, I want you to hashtag replay in the comments below so I know you guys got this value, so I know you guys were tuning in. I have some really good stuff for you today, guys. I'm going to be talking about fatherless children and, kind of discussing how it's such a huge problem in today's society. And I'm going to kind of tie it into my business and why I do what I do. I started my online coaching program to specifically help men realize their true potential. What's going on, babe? Happy freaking Monday. Hope you're crushing it at work. I started my business, The Relentless Life, to allow men, to give men the tools and resources they need and are likely missing in their life to live their best life possible, and to let them understand and be aware that they're worth it. And, I'm really trying to fix a worldwide, and especially, in our nation, but it's really worldwide problem with children growing up without a father, this also is a problem with mothers, but I'm specifically speaking about fathers. And most of the time, in many places, many circumstances, many countries, it's the father that is absent. It's not the mother. The mother is usually the one that is having to take care of the child alone. Obviously there's certain circumstances where the father has to do that, but talking about the majority of cases here, guys, and it's very, very sad. And that's what I'm here to talk about today. I'm going to be talking about my business, The Relentless Life. It's not called The Average Life. It's called The Relentless Life for a reason, for a fucking reason. I sent a video out to my clients today, kind of prefacing them on my live. And I was so fired up. The emotion and energy and passion was so present because, sometimes I forget that what I'm doing with my online company and my podcast and my message is so much bigger than me, and even if it only affects, my clients or a few people on social media, I'm doing my job. That's why I quit my full-time job, to do this and to inspire people to change, to inspire people to realize and be aware that this is a problem, that men need to step the fuck up in our society. Men need to understand that, problems like mass shootings, problems like, overuse of drugs, problems like, leaving their families and leaving their children is a problem that we as men are prompting. We're initiating this, not all men, but a lot of men, and they need to be held accountable, and they need to understand that that's not being a true man. Being a true man isn't who can get the most women, isn't who can accomplish the most in life, isn't who's the most successful. A true man is being there for his family. A true man is being there for his kids, to watch them grow up, to show them and lead them down the right path, right? Because that's the next generation. That's the world. We're essentially giving the world over to the next generation, right? Like, my parents are giving it over to me now. They're in their 50s. And then eventually I'm going to be giving it to my children and their generation. And you guys need to understand that a lot of you guys that follow me are my age, 25, 26. And even if you're in your 30s, you're still a young enough generation to where you can make a significant fucking difference in the lives of these kids and in the lives of these men who, are thinking about walking away from their families, or on the verge of committing suicide, or on the verge of doing something that's going to endanger, their rights as a U.S. citizen and imprison them for life. Like, we have to get this message across that life is not fucking easy. Life is not fucking easy. And I'm here to tell you guys that, that's what I'm going to talk about on my podcast today. There's so much more to life than giving up. So I'm going to take a sip of my coffee here. We're going to get into this podcast. And like usual, I always go a little bit too much in the beginning of my lives before actually starting my podcast up. So I'm fucking fired up today, baby. I'm fired up. This is going to be a good episode. It's going to be a great episode. So what's going on? Spicy James, Brandon, Matt, what's going on, guys? Hope you guys are having a great fucking Monday. I know I am. I pinned the comment. It's called the Relentless Life because that's what it's called. It's called the fucking Relentless Life for a reason. We're not designed to be average. I know 99% of us wind up being average, but I'm here for the 1%ers. I'm here for the people that want to listen and that want to implement and make a change and that don't want to fall into that rat race. I'm here for the men that want to make a change. I'm here for the men that want to hold themselves accountable. And that's what I'm doing with the guys in my group. So we're going to fucking kick this podcast off. We're dropping it in 3, 2, 1. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode on the Relentless Life. Super fucking fired up today to have you guys here. Was just talking on live on Facebook and Instagram about, today's topic with fatherless homes, in today's society. It's so fucking sad. It's so sad. Men are at an all-time low. Men are not the men we were 150 years ago. Men are not the men we're supposed to be today. But the good news is we can change. The good news is we will adapt as long as we have the proper leadership and guidance. So my message today is to tell you, whether you're on live here listening live or you're on the replay listening to my live on Instagram or Facebook, or you're listening to the podcast, is to tell you that it's not too fucking late to make a change. It's not too late to make a change. We got some fucking people on Instagram. What's going on, y'all? Happy fucking Monday. So glad you guys are tuning in. This is going to be fucking lit. So fucking excited. So I started my company, my online business, The Relentless Life, for a fucking reason. I had a calling, right? Because for me, I've had to overcome a lot of shit in my young life, just like a lot of other people, right? Life's fucking hard. Life is hard. That's nothing new to a lot of people, right? There's people out there that are handed down shit and, they walk into things and stuff like that. And that's part of the reason why I felt, almost obligated to walk away from the family business, because I wanted to create my own path. I didn't want anything to be handed to me. With that being said, I worked for every dollar I made in the family company, and I was damn proud of it. I was damn fucking proud of it. But I knew at 25, if I didn't take a step now, if I didn't follow my heart and my calling now, I don't know when that time was going to be. How many more years was I going to have to wait? I was already in it for 3 years. And, I finally decided to make that step, take that leap of faith. And here we are today doing fucking lives every day, hyping people up, making people fucking aware that if you don't take action and you don't start to implement some of these things that I kind of throw at you guys here on my lives and on the podcast, you're going to continue to stay in that same fucking rat race. You're going to continue to live the same day over and over and over and over and over again. And I'm trying to give you guys as much free value and fucking nuggets on here as possible. That's why at the end of all of my lives and at the end of all of my, posts and shit, I'm always saying at the end of it, post your number one biggest takeaway. Because I need to know that this is hitting somebody. I need to know that my message is reflecting with somebody. You guys are understanding it. And that's what today's message is all about. It's about men not being men. We got to step the fuck up, guys. We got to step up. And I'm talking to the fucking men out there strictly right now. Straight up. I'm talking to the men. I'm on a 36-hour fast today. Haven't eaten since 8:30 last night. We're going till 8:30 tomorrow morning. Nothing but water and black coffee all fucking day, baby. We're going to get a lot of shit done. We're going to stay fucking fired up for you guys. I'm fucking so excited to be alive. But guys, men are causing so much So many problems. Not all men, but men need to step up, and men need more support. Women, this is a message to women out there, not all women, but a lot of women. We need you. Men need good women. Men need good support. I'm fortunate enough that I have a really fucking good support system. Through my girlfriend, my mom, my sister, right? I have good friends that are girls outside of that support me. And it's fucking important to have that female support and that female structure as a man. And really, that's lacking. That's why a lot of men, first of all, a lot of men leave their families, and there's 20 million fatherless children every fucking year, which is despicable. It's despicable that we have over 20 million kids every year grow up without a father in the home. Why the fuck is that not being spoken about? That makes me so sad and so angry that we have men that are impregnating women and fucking walking away. They're walking away. You have a duty, you have an obligation for 18 years to lead and guide that child and support your wife or your girlfriend, or even if she's just your partner with this child and you guys aren't in an intimate relationship. You have a fucking obligation, my friend. And I'm here to tell you that these 20 million fatherless children that have to go through this every single year, they are going to grow up, most of them. You know, there's always the few that make it out and that find a way, they find a good mentor, right? And they don't get involved in these things I'm about to list. But a lot of the times, these children are troubled children. And it is so sad and so uncalled for, and could be easily prevented if the father of that child was present in their life. Mass shootings, incarcerations, rapes, drug possessions, everything that I just listed can be directly attributed to a child with an absent father in the home. And it can all be prevented. The murder rates would go down. Crime rates would go down. Looting would go down. I mean, all suicide. Men are three and a half times, and I've seen different statistics. You're going to find different shit out there. But from what I found, men are 3.5 times more likely to commit suicide. Why is that? Well, I believe it's because we don't know how to express our emotions correctly, and then we let it all pile up. We don't have a good female structure, a good female support system, and we crumble. We don't know what to do, so we hang ourselves. We put a gun to our head. We swallow a bottle of pills, and we say, I can't fucking do it anymore. And we leave our, if we have kids or a wife, we leave them behind. And I ain't for that shit. I'm telling you right now, I am not for that shit. You know how many times I've wanted to fucking quit? You know how many times I've wanted to fucking throw in the towel? For the last 7 fucking years, it might not look at it the way that I'm speaking right now. I've said this so many fucking times, it's exhausting. But for the last over 7 years now, I've every day woken up, and some days are better than others. But for the majority of the days over the last 7 years, I've woken up and felt like I had to dig myself out of a 6-foot hole. Haven't been able to work out. Haven't been able to do what I love. Sourced my happiness from an external thing such as the gym. Had to give that up. Had to refine happiness from within. You know how many times I've wanted to quit? You know how many times I've broken down to myself? Cried. Punched shit. Didn't know what to do. Didn't know who to go to. You know how many times I've had suicidal thoughts and I felt so hopeless? Like there was literally no hope. I've tried every route. I spent $15,000. I've seen 30 fucking medical practitioners. I've had fucking every single fucking scan you can have in the book on your body. More radiation than I should have at 25. Don't you think that I wanted to quit by now? Right here talking to you, my neck is fucking tight. It's flaring up right now because when I talk, I have to breathe more. When you breathe more, you kind of, if you're in a pattern like me, you recruit certain muscles in your neck, your SCM, your scalene, certain muscles, and they start to fire up and it's uncomfortable. But I know that I have to show up every day. I know I have an obligation. I know God has me here for a fucking reason. And I know I'm going to find the light. And that's what a lot of these dads out there need to understand, is that everything's temporary in life. All these feelings, it's all temporary. Esteban, what's going on, my brother? Happy fucking Monday. But it's all temporary. And what, as a society, we need to do is we need to cultivate this message of it's okay to feel depressed. It's okay to feel anxious. It's okay to be emotional, right? But what it's not okay to do is to leave your kids, is to walk away. That's not okay. What's not okay is giving up and taking your own life and leaving your kids behind, so that they have to grow up without a dad. They have to grow up without the necessary leadership. 100, 200, 300, 400 years ago, thousands of years ago, when we were first, developing our human, we're talking tens of thousands, if not millions of years ago, but first developing our human civilization, men would lead their tribe. We would be in little niche, little tribes, little niches, little groups, and we would have male leadership to lead that tribe, right? To lead that tribe to a successful hunt, to lead that tribe to connect with other tribes, to protect that tribe, to build homes and protection from the environment for their tribe. Men literally had most of the, I'm not trying to offend females here, but they had a lot of responsibility, right? I'm well aware that men and women need each other, or men and men, or women, whatever you agree. I'm just saying, I'm trying to go back thousands of years. I'm just trying to let you guys know how important men are in a tribe or in a relationship or in a family, specifically in the life of children. And these men were necessary. Their leadership, their guidance, their masculinity was necessary for the health and the mental well-being of their children. And not to mention the health and well-being of the woman, right? And I can't preach that enough. That's not spoken about enough in today's society. If you guys are relating to this, I want to see some fire emojis in the fucking comments. Throw some fire in the comments below. I'm going to be posting this shit on my podcast later today. What we got in the comments so far? Esteban, yes, sir. Thank you for sharing the love, man. Fuck yeah, let's get it, bro. James, God's needle is time and his thread is dark times. Love it. His miracles need materials for construction. I like that analogy. That's awesome. What else we got? People call them the players, but it's the 1% keeping the family stuck in a reoccurring cycle to keep their profits up. Yes, yes, yes. Silence on social media from the majority yesterday. Love it, love it, love it. So, yes. So where were we? So, as I was saying, guys, men are, they're a glue, right? Men are a glue to a family unit or a tribe or a family structure. And being relentless is mandatory. It's a must. It's not a, oh, well, you should be relentless, or, it's not, it's a must. It's a must. And if you're not relentless in terms to giving to your family and guiding and leading your pack, your tribe, your unit, they're going to fucking crumble. And that's why most mass shootings, most of the reason why more men commit suicide, most of the reason why there's more men incarcerated is because they don't have dads. A boy needs a dad. A boy needs a father present in his life to mature and to be mentally healthy and to not succumb to things like depression or anxiety or thoughts of suicide. He needs his fucking dad. So for those of you dads out there or soon to be dads, step the fuck up. Wake up. It's your turn. It's your turn to give. It's your turn to raise your child and create a new being for this world. It's a gift. A child is a gift. Child is a gift. And I'm just trying to get this message out there to anyone listening, whether on the lives or on the podcasts, that we need better dads, better fathers, better men. We need more alpha males, right? I've spoken about this before. We need more alpha men in our community to step the fuck up and be relentless in leadership, to be relentless in domination of themselves, conquering themselves. We do this through things like working out, through a proper diet. Proper diet for me would be an animal-based diet. That's what I have all my clients on, because it's been proven that when we eat the most nourishing foods on the planet, such as animal foods, we can perform and think and thrive to an optimal level. And by doing these things, we're much more inclined to be a good leader, to feel good in our own skin, to not want to give up, to not be lazy. We're more accustomed to wanting to be there for our kids. And it's something to where, if you're not aware of it, it can happen to anyone. Obviously a lot of this has to do with your upbringing, and if you had a good upbringing, this is common sense to you. But if you're someone who didn't have a great upbringing and you maybe had a father present, this message is for you. This message is to tell you that I'm sincerely sorry that your dad wasn't there for you. But it's now your time to step up. Don't use that as an excuse. Use that as fucking motivation. Use that as fire. Use that as a way to make a change. Be the fucking change in your life that you never had. Be the change. Be relentless. Live relentlessly. You must fucking know that it's your choice to be relentless. It's not like you have to be. Like, that's why I call it the relentless life and not the average life. We're all average. You don't have to try to be average. All you have to do is exist. All you have to do is be born, and you're granted the guarantee of being fucking average. You're guaranteed to be fucking average. But for the few that want to make the choice to take those extra steps and be relentless, and when adversity and challenges and difficulties arise in your life, you say, fuck you, or fuck that event, or fuck him, or fuck her. I'm going to stand bold, and I'm going to keep fucking moving forward. I'm going to keep doing what I know is right. I'm going to keep staying on the path that I am carving for myself. I'm going to do right by my family. I'm going to do right by my son and my daughter and my wife or my husband or whatever. That's being relentless. Searching for more, wanting more, craving a desire to be your best and to know that there's no fucking ending. This life never fucking ends until your last breath. And we never know when that is. So why the fuck do we not all have the same mentality and want to wake up every day thinking it could possibly be our last? I don't know when my last day is. I could live to 80, I could live to 100, or I could live to 30, or I don't know when my fucking last day is. So I know I've got to show up every single fucking day. I know I have to follow my fucking path that God put me on. I know I have to follow God's word. I know when I have my own family, I will and I must show up for them every single fucking day. I will be their protector. I will be their provider. I will be everything that my family needs me to be because I am fucking relentless. And I do not quit. I do not give up. I do not give in. I am relentless and I am a warrior. And to all my clients listening to this, you are a fucking warrior. You signed up with me because you know you deserve so much more. You know that it's very fucking hard to do this shit alone. And that's why I always speak about and post about finding a tribe. You've got to find a tribe to express your true inner self, to express your most optimal and dominant form. You've got to find a fucking tribe. And I'm building one. I've built one. And it's fucking growing. And the men that are in my tribe currently are seeing massive fucking changes. They're seeing massive fucking changes and they feel amazing. And they show up consistently. And guess what? If they miss a day, they feel bad about it. But they know that as long as they show up when they don't feel like it, that those days that they're deathly ill or they're sick or they can't because they're working, a long day or whatever it is, that's okay. As long as they stay consistent 98% of the time, they're going to see results. That's relentless is not about being perfect. Relentless is fucking pushing forward when every fucking thing in your life is against you. It's about pushing and pushing and pushing when every single card is against you. Even when your parents don't agree with your decisions, even when your significant other don't agree with your decisions or your kids, it's about fucking pushing forward and being a good dude and being a good fucking guy. That's what being relentless is all about. And I'm here to tell you guys, that's why it's called the fucking relentless life. It's not called the average life. It's called the relentless life. And that's what we do in my program. We fucking push and we push and we push. We edit, right? We customize and edit our meal plans and our workouts, and we make adjustments along the way because there's going to be things that we're going to come up, my elbow's hurting from this exercise or this food is making my stomach hurt. Okay, we adjust. We adjust and we keep fucking moving. We keep grinding our fucking gears, intelligently grinding our fucking gears. We got to be intelligently relentless. And that all ties back into being a good fucking dad and being a good man and being a man. Because, there is no bad man. You're just a fucking boy. You've never matured. You've never leveled up to be a man. You see, because thousands of years ago, you don't have the disrespect. The disrespect and the foolishness and the cheating, on our spouses and our wives and the leaving our kids, that didn't happen. It did. But in the numbers that it's happening today, it didn't happen thousands of years ago. Of course, I'm going to have one fucking internet hacker out there that's going to try to say, oh, well, what about this? And it depends on where you are. And this tribe was fucking left their kids behind all the time. Fuck that. No. Men weren't like this. They were never like this. Things have changed because of technology and because of just life being too fucking easy. And that's what I like about the gym. And that's why in my program, I specifically engineer my guys' minds to be wired to incorporate this word into their daily vocabulary, into our video chats, into our group chats, into our DMs. We're fucking ironing this word into their blood so that they know when they want to quit, even if they're not a dad yet, even if they're not a husband yet, and when they want to quit, that word pops up in their fucking head. And they know I gotta keep fucking going. I didn't sign with Chance to quit. And that's that whole accountability aspect. That's that whole aspect of having a fucking tribe that's going to hold you accountable. That's going to hold you to be your best fucking self. What do we got, James? Consistency and peace at life comes from relentlessness and moving forward, even if it's only a millimeter a day. Amen, brother. Amen, bro. Consistency is king, guys. Consistency is fucking king. And y'all, I'm sure have seen my tattoos on my chest. It's consistently on the one word, on the one side, and then relentless on the other. Because at the end of the day, you can be relentless for a week or a month or even a year, but the day or the minute that you stop is the day, minute, year that can be your last. That can be the time where you fall off, where you lose that momentum. And momentum and consistency is everything. Because when we're consistent, we build habits. When we build habits, we create a lifestyle. And when we're living a lifestyle, it's so much harder to lose that momentum when we create a certain lifestyle for ourselves. So consistency is everything. It goes hand in hand with the word relentless. That's why I believe in it so much to where I fucking got it tattooed on my body. That's why I fucking preach this shit every day. I hope you guys are fucking receiving this, man. I'm fucking hyped. But so what do we have? Just to recap a little bit. We spoke about a fatherless a fatherless home, right? Or children growing up without a father, and how it's a huge problem, how men are 3.5 times more likely to commit suicide than women, how there's 20 million children that have no dads in their life. And this is a fucking huge problem. Look at the increase in mass shootings, the increase in incarcerations, right? With men specifically. There's more men in jail because they're lacking a father. They're lacking the proper guidance. Men are lacking female structure. Men are lacking love and support and emotional support from a woman. We need our women to step up too as a society. This is a full circle thing. This is a community thing we all need to get better at. Men are more likely to have mental illness because as a society, we've done a terrible job at telling our men it's not okay to cry. It's not okay to express your emotions. And I've seen this firsthand. It's taken me a long time to realize it's okay to cry on camera, realize it's okay to express my emotions, to express how I feel. And when you do this, believe it or not, people are more receptive to it than you think. There's more people out there that would actually like to see men cry, but no one's willing to say that. And that's a huge fucking problem. That is a huge problem right there. Not showing our men in our society that it's okay to express their emotions and being able to cry. And that emotional intelligence, and then, that paired with, which that lack of emotional intelligence can come from a lack of fatherhood, but not always entirely. Those two things combined are the reason why so many men are so mentally fucked up today. And if we can just go to the root cause, the root source, we can alleviate a lot of these problems. The problem is it's such a big problem. And it's like, what do you attack first? What do we go to first? Do we go to the inner cities? Do we try to attack it through like governmental aid, through like education? Like my thing would be like educating people, right? Through nonprofits or through different organizations. But how do we get more of that? How do we get more good people to do those things? So it's a problem that needs to be addressed, and that's exactly why I feel obligated to continue doing what I do with my online coaching program and spreading my message on these lives and on my podcasts. So that about sums everything up today. If you guys got something from today's discussion, I would really love to hear from you, because I set aside time now every day to get on here and to speak about something. And it helps me tremendously on a mental level to know that I'm impacting at least one person from every live that I do. If I'm impacting one person a day, that's 5 people a week. That's 20 people a month. It's a lot of people. It's 240 people a year. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know what I could have added. Let me know your perspective on this discussion on fatherless homes, on the 20 million plus children every year that grew up without a dad. What do you guys think of that? Don't you think it's a big fucking problem? Don't you think it needs to be spoken about more? And emotional intelligence, don't you think that has some correlation to dads being absent in a home? Besides it just being a unaware or unspoken about narrative. So I want to hear from you guys. Let me know what you think about that. And if you guys enjoyed this podcast or this live, feel free to leave me a review on my podcast. You guys can find my podcast on the Apple Podcast app if you're listening on Facebook or Instagram. It's called The Relentless Life with Chance Galloway. We're dropping new episodes every day, Monday through Friday, and we're staying fucking consistent. There's no relenting, right? There's that word again. There's no relenting until we fucking get to the top. So I'm here to fucking spread the message, to give you guys as much value as possible, to give you guys something you can relate to every day, and further spread my message of building up men in our community. So hope you guys enjoyed this one. I fucking really did enjoy talking about this. And, at the end of the day, having you guys listen to me really is everything. So much love, much respect. Stay fucking relentless. Peace out. I will see you guys tomorrow. Let's fucking get it.